John Lynch was asked about the defensive coordinator search, and he said some things. He said they want to. I wrote it down. Hold on. He said that they are looking for a defensive coordinator that won't make wholesale changes. They want to be true to who they are on defense, but they are going to make some tweaks. That's what he said. They're going to have small changes on defense, but that's it. Great idea of who we're going to be, continue to be, changes and tweaks we want to make. We're staying true to who we are. That's what he said. So, sounds to me like they're talking to Brandon Staley. We know that. Brandon Staley was the defensive coordinator for the Rams for 1 year. So I could see why the Niners would be interested. The Rams and the Niners are awfully similar. If Sean McVay worked with them and had success, then maybe Kyle Shanahan could too. So he's been a defensive coordinator for 1 year. Had a great defense that year. It was a 3-4 though. Brandon Staley is a Vic Fangio disciple. He was a nobody at John Carroll University, and then Vic Fangio discovered him and made him a linebacker coach for the Bears. Then he became a defensive coordinator, ran Fangio's system. You know that system. The Niners used to run it with Jim Harbaugh. A 3-4, like a one-gap 3-4. Then he went to the Chargers, brought it there. Defense was terrible. He got fired. So we know the Niners have interviewed Brandon Staley. Based on what John Lynch said today, I'm guessing the interview went something like, hey, Brandon, we like you, I guess. But you know that scheme you have, that defensive scheme, the 3-4, the Fangio thing, we don't want that. So if you want to, we would love you to coach for us. But you have to do what Wilkes did last year. And, you know, you can make little tiny tweaks. But if you do anything too different, Nick Bosa and Fred Warner are not going to be happy. And they essentially run this defense. So you got to find a way to get them to buy in. And they didn't buy into Steve Wilkes. So I don't know. It seems like they're trying to get Brandon Staley to be the new version of Wilkes, which sounds like a terrible idea. Brandon Staley's a loser. He's not a particularly decorated coach, and his players didn't seem to like him. And now you're telling him, hey, succeed where Steve Wilkes failed. And again, Steve Wilkes, who was put in this impossible situation, who the team essentially said this was a terrible fit, couldn't get it done, just was the wrong fit, gave up 17.5 points a game. I think they should just go with Nick Sorensen. I don't know the first thing about Nick Sorensen, but he's on the team. He's been with them for a few years. D'Amico Ryans brought him here. He was the pass game coordinator. Is their pass defense great? No. Coverage is pretty good. Pass rush isn't great. It wasn't last year. But still, bringing in Brandon Staley and asking him to run a wide 9, it's not going to work. It'll be worse than the Steve Wilkes experiment. That's my prediction. But it sounds like that's what the Niners want. And if Brandon Staley agrees, they'll probably hire him. Remember, he was a linebacker coach, which is what the Niners want, someone with that history. And I don't know, I guess he was a head coach. And the Niners like that too, because Steve Wilkes was a head coach. And Kyle, frankly, isn't exactly a head coach. I don't know. That's my prediction. It's going to be Brandon Staley if Brandon Staley sort of makes the deal with the devil here. Like, hey, yeah, you can coach the 49ers defense, but you can't coach your scheme, and Kyle's going to overrule you on plays, and Kyle's going to throw you under the bus, and so will Nick Bosa, and so will Fred Warner, but it's a great opportunity. But if you give up 18.5 points per game, you might get fired. But it's a great opportunity. Going to stay true to who they are with small tweaks. That doesn't seem like what tweak is Nick Sorensen going to make? He's been here for a while. He would keep things the way they are. I'm predicting Brandon Staley. And why hasn't it happened yet? Because they're asking Brandon Staley to bend over backwards to come to this team. All right, man, you can coach them, but you can't do X, Y, Z, AFG, AFB, AC, ABC. I don't know my ABCs. AFG. Where did that come from? Did you guys get the same impression about the defensive coordinator? That's the impression I got.